We will start our regular governing board meeting for Tuesday, August 27th, 2019 at 7:02. If we would all, roll call, we are all here. All members are here, and we will stand for the pledge. For our moment of silence, I just wanted to, I'm not going to mention names, but we have lost some students since our last meeting. We've gained some babies and everything in between. So if our moment of silence could just keep all of our Deer Valley family in your heads, that would be awesome. Thank you.
President Ordway, I move that the governing board adopt the agenda.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 5 ayes. That means there's no opposition. So we will start with our governing board reports. Ms. Tweedy.
No report.
Ms. Frank, I know you're catching your breath right now.
No report.
Mrs. Reed.
Thank you guys all for being here tonight. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had an opportunity to start making my way around the district doing school tours and just giving the administrators an opportunity to brag about their schools, which has been really, really fun to listen to. Some of the highlights that I saw were a kindergarten class yesterday. We went to 2 different kindergarten classes, and they were both learning the same thing at the same time and both working on centers, but the way the teachers ran their class were just a little bit different. And so it was neat to see the individualization of the curriculum that the teachers put into their kids and how smoothly the centers were working. That was great. The other great thing was to hear principals talk about how cohesive their staff was. How when one of their staff members needs something and calls on the radio, there are so many staff members that come to assist when a child's in crisis. And another principal took an opportunity to brag about their co-teaching program and how their special education team and their first grade and second grade team worked together to teach seamlessly. And so it was neat to stand in the back of the classroom and watch that happen. It was great to see all of the technology integration that the classrooms were using. I think every classroom I went into was utilizing some sort of technology at some point in their class. So I really enjoyed that. There's a couple of little things that I've heard about as far as going on in the district, and I just want to take a minute and just bring it to light. I know that we have spent so much time, our HR department has spent so much time in developing our EAP program and getting that ready to be rolled out this year. And
Mrs. Reed, if you could tell us what EAP is, please.
The Employee Assistance Program, just to be there as an extra point of support for any of our staff members that need to debrief after maybe a crisis that's happening at school or with one of their students or something personal in their family, just a little extra counseling resource that's there. And I just want to make sure that all of our staff members know that that's available to them. I know that we've had some rough patches so far in our DVUSD family over the last couple of weeks with losing students and having some medical emergencies on campus. So I just want to make sure that our staff and our teachers feel like they know where to go for extra help. And then last week I had an opportunity to speak to a staff member who had some questions about basically what it ended up being was chain of command. And so I just want to make it clear, because I know sometimes it can be a little bit hard, but the relationship that the governing board has with Dr. Finch is that if a community member or a parent emails us or we hear about a concern that's going on in the district, Dr. Finch has asked us to speak to him directly. So whether that's through a phone call or a text message or an email, and then Dr. Finch routes that through his chain of command down through operations. So his deputy superintendents, the directors, and then they handle it at the lowest level possible. So typically that's with an administrator and then going down to a teacher or a coach. So even if it's something that's little, it wouldn't be appropriate for a governing board member to go directly to that staff member and address a concern directly to them. And so, I just want to make sure that that's clear, that as governing board members, that we aren't out to get anybody or to, be looking over your shoulder, that kind of thing. So I just, once that chain of command was explained, it was like, oh, that makes so much sense as to why that was, why that situation was handled that way. And so I know that we've got some DVEA reps in the audience. I don't know if that would be something that maybe you might be able to help us out with, just with helping maybe at the next meeting to explain the chain of command that we have for the staff members, to know that, we are there to handle policy and to handle finances, and Dr. Finch handles all of those operational things. And so if you could do that, that would be fantastic. But I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be able to be out on the campuses, and just want to say thank you to all of our staff members and our administrators for really just kicking off a wonderful 3 weeks of school. And a special thanks to some of our high school teachers that are picking up extra classes and not taking a prep in order to meet the needs of their students at their school. I know that puts a little bit of an extra strain on you and gives you a little bit more work to do in your off time. But thank you for being there for our students. That really means a lot to me.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed. Mrs. O'Brien?
Thank you so much. First, I was really excited to read this morning about the fact that the governor's office, or Governor Ducey, and Superintendent Hoffman, the Arizona School Counselors Association, and the State Board of Ed worked together so that they could put a process in place immediately to expedite awarding the $20 million that was approved for new counselors and school resource officers, and that application period is coming up in September. I look forward to us hopefully applying for some of those dollars and maybe getting some additional resources. And then there'll be another round of grant applications in March. So I just want to applaud all of those folks for getting together and getting those dollars out into our schools as quickly as possible. I had the opportunity to pop into the new teacher orientation for a few moments yesterday. Super excited to see the 2/3 of the governing board room here at district office mostly full, and that there's a second class offered later this week. So kudos to all those that are new to the profession and here at Deer Valley. Was also able to pop into the National Certified Board Teacher Candidates meeting, and they had about 35-ish, give or take, teachers who came to learn about that opportunity. What an incredible thing to know that we have so many teachers in our district who want to sharpen their skills and learn to become better teachers. And I want to thank Discover. Jake Smith from Discover is going to help sponsor some of that to offset some of those costs, as well as Deer Valley Education Foundation supports us. And so thank you to Marie Brennan and those folks. The Deer Valley Online program had their open house, and I was kind of wondered how that would work with your taking online classes. Would very many people show up to meet their teachers? And happy to say it was a pretty full house yesterday at Barry Goldwater for the kids and the parents to meet their teachers in their online classes. So what a wonderful opportunity for our students and our families to meet their teachers. The Hillcrest Middle School open house was fabulous. The new construction is almost done. There were not only students and parents there, but there were workers trying to finish up those last few things at the end. I had the opportunity to attend the National School Board Association Summer Leadership Institute a couple weeks ago. I get to do that because of the office I hold as the Arizona School Board Association Treasurer. They had 3 key speakers on leadership. One of them was Dr. Michael McGow on personal leadership, you leading you. We also got to hear from David Horsiger. I'm probably butchered that name, but he wrote The Trust Edge. And I'm going to send this down the way, but there's 8 pillars of trust that he talks about and the importance of building those. They are clarity, compassion, character, competency, commitment, connection, contribution, and consistency. And I would like to say that I think that it has been evident that we've been building up the trust here in Deer Valley thanks to Dr. Finch and the board members as well as our cabinet and all of our staff. So I look to us continuing to build that and continuing to grow as a district. The final keynote speaker was Dr. Pam Myers, who wrote The Agility Shift. She talked about how many times we're taught how to lead and work in times that are normal, everyday situations. What we're not taught in school is how to deal with the turbulence and change and emergencies. So it was really interesting to hear from 3 different folks on different types of leadership. So I also have a handout to share regarding that with folks. And then I have one question that's probably Mrs. Moffett question. If you could just get us this information in the next update. But how many teachers are teaching 1.2? I noticed in the HR update this week that we have quite a few folks, and if we're getting a report at the next board report, I'm willing to wait then. But if we could just see that number. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Wow, awesome reports. So what I'm going to do is just say that I'm listening to the thread of the reports, and it shows that we are a family. We're building and bringing all of the pieces together. So the continuous improvement of our personal lives and also throughout the district shows up in our kids' perfect AIM scores or AZ merit scores. And I will say that our district is striving to be extraordinary. We're not striving to be perfect. Perfect is something that is different to many people, but extraordinary means that we are always going to put our students, we can see our students at the beginning and end of every decision that we make. I've been to a lot of campuses, and from our K-6, K-8 middle school and high school, and to continue to see smiles on the students' faces is awesome. But when you see the staff, whether it be the teacher in the classroom, your custodian, your, well, maybe not the crossing guards because they're mostly melting now still, but cafeteria workers, there's still that feeling of excitement. And we're in the 3rd week, so let's make sure we can keep that up. The other thing I wanted to talk about is social media. When we are looking and listening to social media for information, it's really good to verify some of the things that you see, because not everything is as it seems, and I'm going to leave it at that. So I will let you know that our board has been operating and will continue to operate following our open meeting laws. And if there's ever any type of a skip on that, which I don't think there will be because we have Sheila, let us know. But please know that we do follow the rules, and we follow them very carefully because we want the trust to continue. And we're not up here to break rules. We're up here to do what we're supposed to do by the rules so we can do the best for our kids. We don't need any type of distraction from the real work that we're doing. So on that, Dr. Finch, if you've got anything,
All
go
right,
ahead.
thank you. Yes, Miss Sheila does save the day quite often. That's her superpower. We had conversations with Kurt since the last time we got together up in Anthem. That went well. Some good attendance there. And if I may brag too about our interfaith group, we had about 25 plus or minus churches here and leaders from the community, and obviously trying to get them to help us pull the wagon in the same direction. So that was very good interaction with them, and a good opportunity to share the successes of Deer Valley. And we're on the rise, and they recognize that and want to help us with that. So thanks for that, for those folks that showed up for that. I also met with Mr. Miglorino, last week, earlier this week. I guess what was yesterday. My time is flying. What day is this, Tuesday? In superintendent years, that's like 7 years a day. We meet with our lobbyists to start talking about what we're going to put pressure on this year. So that's, again, one of my roles that I feel I have some experience in. So that's something I want to hear from you. If there are things that you want me to help push, or you want me to influence properly, I can do that. That's what I do well. And so feel free to email me, text me, things that you're thinking, maybe connections that you have that I don't have, so I can get connected to those folks, or if I can help them in any way to work on a particular issue. So Deer Valley is a player in the state, and we want to continue to be one. So keep up the good work there. I know many of you work on that individually as well. And then last but not least, we're starting the student advisory group. We'll start this week, actually tomorrow. So that will work towards our summit of when Ms. Frank helped us 2 years ago on environment last year. We did a culture one this year. We haven't decided on our topic yet. We haven't met yet, but we're excited to provide another leadership opportunity at the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, and it seems to be we have a new advisor there, and looking forward to what we're going to bring to our students this year. That's it. Thanks.
Onboarding DVUSD staff, is that you, Ms. Moffitt?
It is. Good evening, President Ordway, governing board members, and Dr. We are pleased to share with you an overview of our onboarding process. This evening's presentation will touch upon all employee groups, but will emphasize details around our teacher onboarding and induction program. The onboarding of all employees fits within our strategic plan under Priority Area 2. Specifically, onboarding addresses hiring, retention, employee development, workforce capacity, and engagement. As the Human Resources Department, it is our responsibility to champion engagement for all our employees. As a guidepost, the 2 descriptions identified on your screen have been adopted as DVUSD's definition of employee engagement. These 2 ideas are embedded in how we address all aspects of an employee's life cycle, including early entry into DVUSD. And I would like to take the time to read them because they will be very important as you're doing your work and as you're working with Dr. Finch, because I do know this is around one of his goals. So the first bullet, in the workplace, engagement refers to the degree of positive emotion a person attaches to the organization, so that would be Deer Valley, to their specific job, and to the colleagues around them. Secondly, when a person is engaged, they are attracted to, inspired by, committed to, and even fascinated by their work or their input to the work relationship. Tonight we're going to be identifying these 3 separate groups: exempt group, classified group, and the certified group. Each employee that joins DVUSD visits Human Resources, where we conduct a one-on-one orientation. At this orientation, we complete all legal aspects of the hiring process. We introduce the employee to the district work culture, provide documents for the next phase of the onboarding process, and answer any immediate questions that the employee may have. If you can imagine, we have 4,000 employees in our district, so we have 5 HR specialists who do conduct these one-on-one orientations. So these 5 specialists are very busy. A one-on-one orientation can last anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour, and so as the summer months have gone by, they have already conducted hundreds of them because they do conduct one for every single employee type. Another thing that we do in DVUSD, and this is not as common as you move from district to district, all contracted employees, certified and exempt, additionally attend a small group orientation. At this meeting, HR, IS&T, and payroll partner to review employment-related topics. They sign their contract at that time, provide district-issued technology, and review in more detail employment expectations, opportunities, and benefits. Our exempt group. Our administrative exempt employees, under the direction of ALS, participate in a 4-day orientation where they receive job-specific training, an overview of district goals and initiatives, and time with each department to learn the intricacies of their responsibilities as leaders in Deer Valley. Additionally, these employees are assigned a mentor and meet one-on-one with their supervisor to review details that may be more specific to their background and new job site. And I'd also like to add that the ALS team has done a really great job this year building positive relationships with all new members. Teaming, collaboration as a focus, and a little bit of fun were all aspects of their orientation days this year. Our non-school exempt is another category. Our non-school-based exempt employees attend a one-on-one orientation, participate in department onboarding. This may be done with the department supervisor, or if the supervisor is being onboarded, the orientation responsibility lies with human resources. It also lies with cabinet, and it lies with the superintendent. These members also receive monthly development ongoing in their first year and participate in a one-on-one job-specific requirement meeting with their supervisor. Similar to our non-school exempt, classified employees new to our district participate in the one-on-one orientation. Dependent on their job function, then participate in pre-job training or on-the-job training. Some positions require legal training, such as CPR, while others meet with leads for job-specific training and support. Each classified employee will also sit with their supervisor in order to review job expectations and onboarding at their work site. Our most comprehensive program is designed for our certified and other professional staff. Here to speak to this program is our Coordinator of Personnel Development, Judy Williams, and her mentoring team.
Members of the board, Dr. Finch. The next group we'd like to draw your attention to is the certified group. This group is composed of new teachers, experienced teachers, OTs, PTs, SLPs, counselors, psychologists, and nurses. The most high energy group, the new to profession teachers. This year is their first time to be independent in a classroom. Research states that many new teachers report feelings of isolation and lack of support. Our program has been built to alleviate the stresses that come with being a first-year teacher. Our program's mission, that you see displayed before you, is to provide a continuum of support, valuing teachers, and thus impacting student learning. I am proud to introduce my team, Joanne Bogner, Kim McLuhan, and Pam Nelson, who are excited to share what this mission looks like to a new to profession teacher.
Excuse me, ladies, can you guys talk closer to the microphone because nobody can hear you out there? We can hear you, but it's hard to hear out there. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Pam Nelson, and I'm excited to share some information about our new to the profession induction program. Our program consists of 3 components that support our teachers over their first 2 years in Deer Valley. The first component of our program is the professional development aspect of induction. These workshops provide teachers with support that is specially designed for a new educator. Our development begins with a 4-day orientation coordinated with Student Support Services and the CIA department to help prepare our teachers for the opening of school. Day 1 focuses on our special education teachers with student support services providing specific training. On Day 2, mentors work with new teachers on classroom management and building culture. Day 3 partners with the curriculum department to help new teachers understand and access their curriculum. Day 4 is a day of planning and preparations using the curriculum they obtained from the CIA department. In addition, this year, we were able to partner with ADE to provide special support for our special education teachers. Each time the planning team comes together, there are 3 driving factors when we build our scope and sequence. We start with best practices addressing new teachers and what they need to know. We also look at district initiatives and what is relevant for that time of year. For example, when parent-teacher conferences are scheduled, we address this topic in depth. We support collaboration on these key topics as well. And in addition, we collect input from our participants about their self-identified needs by surveying them at the end of each workshop and information we gather from visiting their classrooms. Our workshops are offered monthly and designed to provide support in areas of need. We differentiate these workshops to ensure all teachers' needs are met. For example, we group them according to grade band if the topic is age-specific. We also differentiate by pipeline to support all alternative pathway teachers. Collaboration time is always provided. This is a key for new teacher success. They value this time to build professional connections and work through new teacher issues. Our program also provides support to teachers that are hired anytime after the first student day. We provide more differentiated support during workshops, and we front load with mentor support before their first day in the classroom. We coordinate with the curriculum department to deploy CIAs if necessary for whatever they need. Our late hires are also provided the opportunity to participate in our 4-day orientation or first semester workshops the following year. Second-year teachers continue in the program with workshops focused on reflective teacher practices. This allows them to use their experience to grow and improve in their craft. There are 3 workshops offered in the second year, with more planned collaboration time. While we still visit classrooms, it lessens in the classroom depending on individual teacher needs.
Ordway and members of the board, I'm Joanne Bogner, and I'd like to tell you about the classroom visits. We coordinate our visits and express our availability for before and after school support or through text, phone, or email. The reason for the classroom visit is to build relationships, provide personal support, develop confidence in teaching, and reinforce the use of the monthly PD in the classroom. From the 2018-19 school year, we had 1,728 classroom visits, which translates into 3,244 hours. Currently, we have been in 387 classrooms for 167 hours of support.
Good evening. My name is Kim McLuhan, and I'm addressing the 3rd and final component of the induction program. The induction mentor specialist is a liaison between the schools and the district and the many services provided. Additionally, we make school connections. Mentors work with new teachers to identify their triads of support. This ensures each teacher has at least 3 people on campus to help in their journey. 1 is content knowledge, 1 experienced teacher, and 1 teacher close to the classroom. We then meet with principals to identify school-wide goals and programs in order to provide an on-campus support. Finally, we team with the campus to provide any necessary training and district resources to promote individual, student, and campus success. Lastly, we work closely with the other district departments and connect new teachers with these district supports such as curriculum and instruction, IS&T, and student support services. We are available to provide immediate requests for assistance with DVUSD's online instructional and support systems as well. And finally, we assist with the onboarding process for new members to the program, whether they join us 1 week after school begins, mid-year, or late in the spring.
Okay, can you hear me? How's that? Better? Okay, want to make sure you hear me. So, thank you, team. Yay! Sorry, I should have held that. The next group is the new hire onboarding program is designed for for employees that are not new to education, but that are new to Deer Valley. These employees are familiar with the profession, but have not yet learned the language of DVUSD. They don't understand Deer Valley Ease yet. We partnered to remove the barriers and make a smooth transition to their new home. The goal of this program is to address Deer Valley culture and build connection. In July, new hires meet as a whole at a regional welcome. This is our first time to be able to say hello. Participants make new school and region connections. They are also welcomed by the superintendent and other district leadership. Our team provides a big picture overview of Deer Valley Unified School District, the strategic plan, and other key district initiatives and components. We also take time to show each new employee how their role impacts the organization. In addition, attendees leave with 3 practical pieces of technology information and hands-on practice. These resources will help ensure early success in navigating their daily work experience. This group comes back together face-to-face in September and January for timely information and requested training and connection. In April, an online course is provided with end-of-the-year processes and procedures and an additional opportunity to ask any additional questions. Our goal is for each participant to have a successful first year, but we could not do this alone. One of our favorite groups to partner with is the Curriculum and Instruction Department. Dr. Galligan is here to share what that looks like from her department. Thank you, Dr. Galligan, for making a difference for new hires.
President Ordway, members of the board, guests, and Dr. Finch, thank you. Our teachers have the opportunity to obtain information in initial trainings for curriculum, instruction, assessment, and our technology that's available to all staff. They get that within those first 4 days, as was mentioned. We have 1 full day with each of the teachers. Our new hires participate in a full-day conference style with choice sessions allowing our new to DVUSD teachers to focus on the most important items to help them be successful in Deer Valley and initially that first week. The CISs, the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Specialists, create individualized schedules for the new teachers to help them navigate through the many different sessions that are offered. We had 85 new to profession teachers and 78 new to Deer Valley teachers attend this year, for a total of 163 teachers on that 1 conference day. What you see here is an example of a full day schedule. There were 15 rooms used and utilized throughout the day for ease of finding those sessions and building familiarity on a campus that most of the teachers had never been on. We want to thank Principal Anita Stulk and Barry Goldwater for hosting this for the 2nd year. In addition to our new teachers, we offered a professional development to all returning teachers in Deer Valley as well. This is a yearly opportunity for our returning teachers to receive the most updated information from the content specialists in the face-to-face setting. For teachers who are unable to attend in a face-to-face setting, there is an online version also available, and that is shared with our administrators as well as straight out with our teachers through the content specialists. Each session that's online is about 30 minutes. When this originally began, teachers would come in and meet in person with the district curriculum specialists here in the boardroom, but it grew so much based on teacher feedback that we grew to Barry Goldwater, and we also added the online option. The online option allows more teachers to participate and hopefully more teachers to start their year off with updated and accurate information for their grade or content area, whether it's in standards, whether it's curriculum, whether it's resources, or just what's updated and new this year. Both Human Resources and Curriculum Department have been able to positively impact about 500 teachers in Deer Valley. This number will still rise as more teachers complete that online training from each of the content areas. For the back-to-school sessions as of August 16th, and there are about 15 more days left for teachers to complete the PD, we had 1,033 online quizzes taken, which just shows that teachers were participating, and that 334 teachers, in addition to the ones who participated in the face-to-face training, participated in the online training.
And then lastly, we would just like to highlight and add that we do feel so incredibly grateful that we get to work in human resources and that we do get to share how important it is to take care of our people. This is one of my favorite quotes from Lawrence Bossity, who was, I believe, a 30-year CEO or worked his way up to be the CEO in GE and later Allied Signal. I'll read it to you. I'm convinced that nothing we do is more important than hiring and developing people. At the end of the day, you bet on people, not on strategies. So we definitely want to take care of everyone that we bring into the Deer Valley family. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Any questions, comments? I think it's awesome. And so it's just you four? Is it just you four, or how many people do you? It's the four of you that do everything that you just told us. Oh, and that HR department. So, I'm kidding. All right.
Thank you.
very
Wonderful
much.
job.
Oh, and curriculum too.
Dr. Zerbach.
Is Dr.
Okay.
Zerbach next?
He is, and he's ready again.
Is he? Well, go ahead.
Good evening, President Ordaway, members of the board, Dr. Finch. I am here today to give you a very brief presentation on the heat advisory procedures for the district. First of all, the district does have an administrative management guideline, or an AMG, that serves as a document that is designed to protect students from incurring heat-related illnesses or problems. As outlined in the AMG, the guide is used for personnel to use and to refer to when making decisions about modifying and or suspending the outdoor activities. So specifically with the AMG, it's summarized here on the second slide. So it indicates that school personnel should consult the heat index from the National Weather Service, and then they line up the actual heat index temperature, and with that temperature then it's designated how much time can or cannot be allowed for the students to be outside. And so the outdoor activities, as indicated in AMG, are for the physical education class, for lunch recess. And the AMG also specifies the need for schools to have the school nurses be involved as well, that for any of the students that might have a medical condition, that they should be consulted with for support in terms of determining how much time should be spent outside. So that heat index is on the third slide, so that's the chart there. So again, it takes into account the temperature and also the humidity, and then the chart will indicate to them how much time the students can be outside. So the second bullet point speaks to a new tool. For some folks, we have asked folks to sign up to receive the excessive heat warning. It's an email or a text alert. You can choose either one, and that comes from the Department of Health Services. An example of that text alert or that email alert is on this slide. And so it tells you the county, and it gives you the times as far as when the excessive heat may be in place. And then finally, we put on the third bullet point that, of course, we do encourage folks to err on the side of caution. And so folks, some use rainy day schedules, others will call them weather day schedules. And those are what we would recommend to them that they use when we are having the high temperatures, which, of course, we are experiencing in the past weeks here and probably will continue to have here in the upcoming times. Any questions with respect to this?
I just wanted to go over, so the guide that we're using, all of our campuses are using the same information to make their decisions from.
Yes, it's the heat index chart here that you can see, and that is contained, that actual chart is in our AMG.
Okay. And where do they get the text message that has the actual temperature?
Yeah, so this is an example, President Ordway here on there, and so it will tell them this is the temperature for today. It will give them the range usually, and so
Right.
it'll say today between these hours it's going to be between 108 and 112, and so it's between those hours then that it'll stay. This is for indoor activity at this time.
Okay, and then how does that extend to our athletics or co-curricular things like marching band?
It extends to them as well, and so the coaches, they are part. If you look at the AMG, it will say that they can be one of the members that is designated to check the weather. And so in the tool that we ask folks to use as well, this particular heat index alert, we have asked that coaches sign up for that as well so that they are aware of the precautions that are necessary.
Awesome, and it's also for the adults that might be out there when it's 500 degrees too, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Ms. Tweedy, and then Ms. Reed.
I just had 2 questions. On the athletics, is that put out by the AIA, and are all districts following a similar in terms of the heat, or is it a district decision?
I am not positive, Ms. Tweedy, on that, but I believe that most folks do follow the heat index. I will say in my prior district in downtown Phoenix, we did use the same heat index chart for this.
Okay. Well, and I guess my other question was similar to that, and even if you send it later to the board, is there a large variation between what different districts are doing on this? Or are most, like, as you said, whether it be athletics or recess, following the same thing? I would just be interested in knowing that. So if you could send that. Thank
Absolutely,
you.
Ms. Tweedy. I can provide that in a board update to you.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Mrs. Reed?
I was curious in regards to sports. I know that we have quite an extensive training for concussion protocol, and then have been venturing into heart conditions, right? Is there any training or procedures in place to train our athletes and our parents to recognize and understand the signs of heat stroke or heat-related illnesses? If there's an information pamphlet that the coaches hand out when we're filling out our packets for our student athletes and permission forms for co-curricular, that they have to sign off on, so that they understand what the heat advisory policy is and they understand how to prepare their students.
Yes, Ms. Reed. So the actual specifics I'll need to put in a board update for you, but in general, yes. So that is part of the new policy advisories too that came out, and so that we are expected to make sure that that is provided to our coaches, to our students, and that the parents are aware as well.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Mrs. O'Brien? No? Yes?
I do have one, if it's my turn. Just
Your turn.
teasing. Dr. Zerbach, when those texts or we get in that temperature range, is it a administrative guideline, or I should say administrator's decision whether or not they go outside, or is it just a blanket, we're now on indoor as a district? Can you help me understand that a little bit better?
Sure, Ms. O'Brien. So if on the chart, if it's indicating that the student should be in, it's not a question as far as can the administrator say, yes, we can stay in or we stay out. They need to stay in if it reaches on that chart, the temperature that indicates it's indoor activity only.
Okay. That's what I wanted to verify. Yes, that does answer my question, that there's a hard line there that this is an inside activity day, period, end of story.
Ms. O'Brien, correct, yes. So if they see that temperature on the chart indicating that it's indoor activity only, then yes, that's what it is.
Wonderful, thank you.
I think we're satisfied with your information. And if you could send us that information, that would be awesome. And it looks like it's public comments. Thank you, Dr. Zerbach.
None.
There are none, so let's move along to old business.
President Ordway, I move that the governing board provide direction to the delegate to vote on behalf of DVUSD governing board regarding the proposed Arizona School Boards Association 2020 political agenda.
I second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Zero opposition. No. We have to wait for you to vote, is that what you're saying?
Please, thank you. I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items 6A through 6J.
I second.
All those voting for, say aye.
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 No opposed. There it is. It's okay, A, 5 A's, ayes. Moving on to 7A.
Employee travel. I move that the governing board approve all employee out-of-state travel per governing board policy GCCE.
I second.
Is there any discussion? I'm seeing no discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Nope. 5 ayes have it. 7B.
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to pre-approve the addenda as presented.
I second.
Any discussion? Zero discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? There is none. Passes 5-0. Let's go to 7C.
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve ADM Group, Inc. as the architect for the Bel Air Elementary School modernization project using a 1 GPA cooperative contract number 18-21P-01.
I second.
Jim, I think this is where you come in.
President Ordway, members of the board, Dr. Finch. This is the first step in the process for the final modernization project that's scheduled as part of the 2013 bond authorization. And some of our reasoning for using the ADM group, we've enjoyed success with past projects that they have worked on and are currently working on. They are the architect of record for the new elementary school, for example. They just finished up the Arrowhead modernization project, and they also were the architect of record for the Esperanza modernization project. Bel Air is a prototypical school built off that same design, and so we think that they would be a great fit for us to modernize the Bel Air campus. So that is our recommendation that you're considering this evening. This is the first step in getting that team, that first team member assembled, and then we will bring back to the board at a later time the recommendation for a construction manager at risk. We anticipate that would be sometime around the end of the calendar year, beginning of the new year, 2020.
Any questions? Wow. Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? No. Go to 7D.
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the revised governing board's argument in support of the special maintenance and operation budget override election.
I second.
Any discussion? Could someone read that one more time?
Just the difference was, remember, it had to be under a certain amount of words, and
Right.
we were over by 38, so we had to cut 30 some words out.
38 words, like
38
one for each
words,
school?
get down to the magic number, I believe.
Right.
And Ms. Sheila coordinated it through board and through Mr. Miglio, and I think it's ready to go.
Is it ready to go? So all we have to do is vote now? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposition? There is none. So now we will move to 8A, board goals. Do we want to go through this item by item? Are there? I see shaking heads.
Do you want me to do you want me to set
I
stage?
want you to do whatever you want to do.
Let me do a 30-second commercial where this kind of came from.
I want a 38-second
38. You can't go over 8. You have down 30. Starting now. The how this was formed again. I've that kept you in the loop via the board updates, but we started from the initial board retreat, got the ideas, then obviously got email, and that was kind of feedback. But I don't get all the credit for this. Dr. Chunas was a major player in helping us design it so it mirrors my goals in concept and mirrors our strategic plan, et cetera, et cetera. So that was the idea behind it. If you notice, it's very similar to how mine are set up, with an opportunity to hit 3 of the 4 components, for example, or 4 of the 5, similar to the way mine are set up. So that's the premise.
So what you're saying is that they align with the strategic plan.
Correct.
They align with your goals.
Correct.
And it all looks the same. So when somebody is to look it up, they will see that the board is leading by example.
Correct.
Hopefully. Anyway, we'll see that. Any other comments?
Okay. I have one suggestion.
Go ahead.
On the first goal regarding our healthy culture as evidenced by meeting 3 of the 4 following indicators, one of the items is to attend a legislative district meeting prior to the November election to support the proper dissemination of facts regarding the DVUSD bond and M&O override. My suggestion would be that we could add or other groups and community groups such as I don't know, a Rotary Club or whatever other kind of groups might invite us to talk about the facts surrounding that.
That would work.
Is that?
Yes, Ms. Tweedy.
And again, it's, what's that?
I guess I'll just get the ball rolling, and I may be out of sync with the rest of you.
Oh, that's okay.
So I'll try to state this. As I went through this, and so I will say, first of all, I may have a difference of philosophical opinion as to why we have a governing board. I will say, and it's not that we aren't to work with you or to work with you professionally, but the reason why there's a governing board, in my opinion, is to have the public input and oversight into the decisions we make, in that it's not our job to work with you as a team. It's our job to vote what's best for our constituents and our stakeholders, and it's a check and balance type system. It is so that the public, with their funding going to education, they have input, because they can. That's why they elect us, and that's why they elect us to cast votes. And so within that spirit, and as I was looking through this, and I'll just be as honest as I can about this, I do agree with the public's right to make a decision on a bond and override. That is why I vote in favor of it. Having said that, there's some criticism about how the district spends money that I agree with. I didn't vote for every expenditure. I'm not sure that you want me out at LD meetings. I mean, I think the kindest thing I can do is keep my mouth shut, and I will, and I'll let the public have their say. You don't want me out there defending some of these spending decisions that they're criticizing. I will be honest about my opinions if I go. I will also say, as I look at this with the employee satisfaction survey, I don't particularly have a problem with this goal. The survey is written by us, not a professional company, and when you have a valid survey instrument, they study the validity of the instrument in and of itself, and they make sure that when people answer a question a certain way, that's how they intended to answer. And so when you write a survey yourself, it's not highly accurate. I mean, that would just be for anybody, and it's not a criticism. And when you make a 1% goal, and I mentioned this on Dr. Finch's goal, and that's most likely in the standard error of measure. So a 1% goal on a survey you wrote yourself is meaningless. It's fine if we want to write it. I mean, it's just statistically meaningless. And so whether or not we get it, I mean, it would just be like rolling a dice. So, I mean, it's up to you guys if, you want to have it. In terms of the social media post or linking my personal social media, I hardly ever post on social media. It's in my personal belief system not to. So the chances that I'm going to go post on social media, really slim. I may like a Twitter post. I mean, and I do if I don't lock myself out and I remember my passwords and I'm on it. And
We could change it to like.
but I'm just not a big poster, and I don't.
Or email.
I like to have my private life private, and I would never link my personal social media to anything of the districts. Part of that is being a teacher. They tell you not to. And they tell you to keep your profile very secure and not to put yourself out there. So that's just not something I'm going to do. So, I mean, if we write the goal 100%, I mean, I also saw the ASBA PD. I went to an ASBA conference, and I'm going to be as kind as I can. We spent money, and and they gave awards for people that spend money to go to their thing, and they spent a good 2 hours patting each other on the back. And then I went to some of the arguably worst PD I've ever seen in my life. They were just trying to sell a product they made, and there was like no research behind it. I just won't myself take time off work and do that. If I'm interested on a topic, I'll look up the experts on it and I'll research it. Or if somebody sends me something, I'll research the person and I'll read it. But I'm not. I thought that was terrible last time I went. So those are just my thoughts.
No, thanks. As you and I have this conversation about surveys all the time, it's not the validity that that is the main thing when you're doing an internal survey of employees. What you're looking for is trends. So over time, you're looking for a change. So this will not be a goal for just 1 year. It'll be over time that we want to impact. And it says thoughtfully considered issues before making decisions. So we're trying to impact perceptions of how the board is viewed. That's what we're trying to do. And so, and it's the one piece of evidence that we do collect from our employees. So that's why we put it in. I don't disagree with you that we could spend 20 grand and have somebody come and make all this professional and validate some of the thoughts that are here. But the point is, and again, this is my 21st year doing this. If the board and the superintendent are not on the same page, we don't make forward progress. And so the point of board goals is to help assist the superintendent making a positive impact. You are correct that your role is different than mine, but the idea is that you try to support where we're headed. That's the point. Is this the best way to solidify it? Don't know. This is the way we've done it with. I've done it with other boards, so I hear what you're saying, but I also want, and I believe it's important that you send a message to the employees and to our community that we're on the same page. That's the theory behind it. So good point. So thanks.
Mrs. O'Brien.
And I respect your thoughts and opinions and appreciate you sharing them with us. I also want to thank, though, Dr. Finch and Dr. Tunis, because it's not that we have to do every single thing on there. There are options for us. So we could do 3 of the 4 indicators. There are also different ways to do it. There are, as far as the Arizona School Boards Association and their education, they have free webinars that you can attend related or watch in the comfort of your own home related to equity, which are not about products. It's about students that are in our schools. And if you would like something changed, I think this is the time to talk about it. So
then I would take ASBA out because I think we should choose our training from who we want to get it from.
Okay, then you attend one conference or class or webinar?
I mean, I attend all sorts.
On education related.
Wait. There's too many people talking. I didn't hear you, Miss Tweedy.
The classes. I'm in school.
Okay. But what we're talking about is something that would
Be a better
impact.
school board member.
And I know that what you do in school absolutely impacts what you're doing on the board, but we're talking about process, procedure, that kind of thing that has to do with actual governing board stuff. So
Well,
I don't know what
attend-
classes you take in the school that you're teaching.
Well,
that has governing
I
board
will
things.
choose.
And if you could let me finish, that would be awesome. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll say I'm going to choose my own classes. No one's going to tell me what classes to attend.
Okay.
And that's
We
great.
can make them more broad too.
And that would open things up for us too. So if there are things that you're if there are things that you're going to do, share them with us so we can also have that kind of information.
Well, I think it'd be helpful if you guys took statistic classes so we would be more cognizant of what statistics we're using to evaluate our decisions and the
We could teach
possible
that to
errors
everyone.
in that and possibly that we're viewing data incorrectly when we make choices. So
Data
maybe
can be-
we should all take a statistics class.
And
I could teach it.
and that would be awesome.
Okay,
Great.
I'll attend.
So we'll use that as a professional development work study, board study. So we'll set that up, Dr. Finch. Ms. Frank, I know you had something to say. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I do appreciate the work that was put into creating the goals and aligning it to the strategic plan and key strategic priorities. I have rather mixed feelings about the concept. As a whole, we're 5 individually elected members, and so for all of us to have the same goals, I don't believe my constituents elected me to do PR for the district. And we don't, I think anybody who watches a board meeting knows we don't all agree most of the time. Sometimes we do, but we have a lot of significant differences in how we see things. When I look at this, to be honest with you, it looks like a list of things that now I need to go and do. I don't have the time to do these things on top of reading board updates, preparing for meetings, attending meetings. I have a long list of goals that my supervisor gave me at work, and I don't need more to accomplish. And I realize that's going to make some people unhappy with me having said this, but I'm not an employee of this district. I agree with Ms. Tweedy that we're elected to be the checks and balances. I'm sure there are some things on here that I will do. I do try to attend events as much as possible, but I can't commit to doing everything that you have on this list, because I would be lying if I said I could get it all done. I can't.
Well, there isn't a you that have it on this list. This was something that Dr. Tunis pulled together from the thoughts that we had when we had our retreat. So I think from my perspective, for the board to have goals to achieve, whether they're individual goals that are looked at collectively, however it is you're going to make choices to whatever it is you're going to do, is that we are leading by an example of having goals, that we're not just sitting here doing whatever we're doing. So that's my opinion and that's my perspective. So when I look at the list, when it was available to see, but there's enough on here to pick to do if you choose to, or don't do if you don't choose to do it. And that's why we're having discussions, so we can see how it is we want it set up. Ms. Reed, do you have anything else to add?
As far as goals go, and I understand that we're 5 individually elected board members, but we are supposed to operate and statutorily operate together as one voting body to give guidance to the superintendent as far as policy and finances go. And so that's our job, and regardless of whether or not we always see eye to eye on issues or vote the same way or vote differently, that's our responsibility. And I don't think that it's fair to say that the superintendent has goals, his leadership staff has goals, and our teachers have goals that they have to meet, and our students have goals that they have to meet, and that as a board we don't have goals. I think that is I think it's irresponsible, and I think it is holding our staff and our students and our leadership in a position that we're not willing to put ourselves in. So I would like, I know that that you don't agree with all of the goals that we have or some of the key points of some of the goals, but if you were to be able to provide input on what you would like to see, as some of the goals for the board, I would be happy to hear that and to try and help support finding a way for us to all get together on the same page.
Hey, I'll give you another.
Hold on. Ms. Frank.
Okay. So, to that point, and I do respect your opinion and your efforts to bring everybody together, but I do have to say that, students have goals because teachers have to assess them to give them grades. So they have to have goals because they're in school. Employees have goals because that's how you assess their performance. The superintendent has goals because that's how we assess his performance. The voters are the ones who assess our performance and decide whether or not they want to reelect us or not. We're not employees of the district, and so that's just kind of my take on it. I'm not an employee of the district. But I would be happy to take another look at this. I was as everyone knows, out of town on a family emergency when it first appeared on the agenda, so I'd be more than happy to take another look at it and give some feedback. But that's just where I'm coming from, and I respect that you have a different opinion.
And our voters do make decisions every 4 years, so in between that 4 years, perhaps we could give them something to look at to decide what they want to do in the next 4 years, every 2 years for 4 years. Anyway, since we're done with that, it looks as though we've come to that part of the meeting that everyone is sad to see.
Before you go, on the board goals, Ms. Frank, I just want to reiterate what she said, that she going to provide feedback before we bring it back. So anyone else that has any more feedback, continue to email me or let me know how you want to tweak it, change it, so we can make it adaptable for everyone.
Right, and which is something we look forward to whenever we put out things in the Friday updates and prior to get the questions before we have the meetings. So, go ahead, Mrs. O'Brien. Take it away.
The rest of the meetings are posted for the year, and I move that we adjourn this meeting.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you very much.